I'll never forget how I felt that day. The paramedic came into the room and said, yeah, that he had in fact died. I felt this weight come off me. It was like I was a bird in a cage and someone opened the cage door and I was free. I'll never forget that feeling.
Are you feeling trapped in your life? There's a big difference between actually being trapped and feeling trapped. Being trapped, physically trapped, held in place, is very different to feeling trapped in our minds. Have you heard the story about baby elephants, where unfortunately when they're in captivity in some places they tie them with rope around their foot, and the elephants are too little and they can't break free from the rope, and as they grow up and get big and strong they actually don't realize that they're way stronger than the rope and they could easily break free and run off into the sunset. They're completely imprisoned by their belief that they can't break the rope. And I think we're kind of the same. We have these beliefs and limitations that keep us imprisoned. You know, we're walking around with these beliefs that you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough, you're not blah blah blah, you're just not enough, whatever. These beliefs are imprisoning us just like the baby elephant. They're keeping us stuck. But the thing is, we are choosing that. I was inspired to do this video today because I saw another video by a YouTuber called Amy. Her channel is the Enlightened Naturopath. Great channel, definitely check it out. I'll leave a link in the description. And she was talking about her experience of growing up in a really strict Mormon church and then discovering and realizing that she was in fact gay, which was completely unacceptable to that church and that community. The thing is, I mean, that's a very common story. We hear these stories all the time, but what is uncommon about Amy's story is when Amy did leave the church and did leave that environment, she didn't make herself wrong, she didn't make herself unacceptable, she didn't carry shame and guilt and self-loathing and self-hatred. She didn't make herself wrong from that experience, from all the judgments that were projected at her. And that is the uncommon thing, I think. So it really got me thinking, because between the ages of 4 and 14, I had a stepfather who was very, emotionally abusive and all the things. And I don't mean to dismiss it, but I just don't want to dwell on it, as it's not the reason I'm sharing this. But it was a very impressive environment, and I made that mean, like being in that household made me feel like I decided that I wasn't good enough, that I was defective, that I was unlovable, no one would love me. There was something inherently wrong with me. I made that decision. There's something wrong with me. And I always felt this deep sense of shame and like I'm a bad person. Like, because when you're at that age, you're forming your beliefs and what you're being modeled what is love, and you think that that's what love is, because your caregivers are meant to be modeling what love is and safety is and all of that. So of course, growing up, I became a people pleaser and, apologized for taking up space and for breathing. And I became a really good shapeshifter. So I'd walk into a room and sense what was happening and be what I needed to be to go undetected in that room. So if someone was, if someone felt threatened by me in any way, I would really make myself small so that they wouldn't feel threatened, and then I would feel safe. That's just an example. Like, there's multiple, poor boundaries and all of the things. So that was my experience. There's a clip here that I'll share from Amy talking about how we become the bully, we become the jailer.
The bully wins when you, the one that was once bullied, become the bully. The discriminators win when you, the one that was once discriminated against, becomes the discriminator. The jailer wins ultimately if the one that once was the jailer doesn't even have to bother with it anymore, because you have put yourself in prison and you have jailed yourself and you keep yourself stuck in there.
So this stepfather, when I was 14, he killed himself, and you would think that then I should be free. Like, the jailer is gone, so I should be free. But what actually happened, and what happens a lot, is that we keep ourselves jailed. We lock ourselves up with those beliefs, those limitations. We continue to jail ourselves. So the jailer is gone, but I'm still in jail. The one that's bullied becomes the bully. So I became the bully. I didn't bully other people, but I bullied myself. My inner critic was so harsh. And I know a lot of you out there have really harsh inner critics. It's a very common thing. And one of the things we try and do is raise our inner critic up to our inner coach to really encourage and support and be that voice, that nurturing, supportive voice that we need to help us be all that we want to be. However, like when you're bullying yourself, so the bully's gone, but you're still bullying yourself. And that's certainly how I lived for decades. So, my stepfather died over 30 years ago, and I, he may as well still be here with as far as like the bullying that's happening internally. And, it has been a healing journey. I've been on the journey and loving the journey. Oh, it's so rewarding. I highly recommend if there's anything that you want to change in your life, you want to feel more love, more self-compassion, be more comfortable in our home, which is, in our bodies, in ourselves, I highly recommend cultivating the courage to go on that journey because it's so worthwhile. So yeah, my jailer didn't need to keep me imprisoned anymore because I was doing that to myself, just like the baby elephant. So Amy and I both experienced oppressive environments, oppressive households or communities, but we dealt with it very differently. So Amy decided that her sexuality was only one small, important but small part of who she was, of who the entirety of who she is. She decided that it wasn't shameful, that she could still keep an open heart. She was able to still love that community and love herself and love others. It didn't shut her down. That was a choice that she made. Whereas I kind of went in the other direction. As I explained, made myself wrong in so many different ways. So I was so inspired by Amy's story because even though, you might say, oh, but you were just a child and you had limited options. Cockatoos are so loud. You were just a child and you had limited options. Yes, that's true, but I still made that choice. Like, I remember making those decisions. I remember thinking it's hopeless. There's no point. I remember, and I could have chosen something else, and huge compassion for myself at that time. But I'm older and wiser, and I can go back and reparent that child that needed more support and more love at that time. There's a whole bunch of timeline work that you can do going back into that environment and being with your younger self. Inner child work, like, it's just magnificent. Inner child work, it's so transformative. So the cage, the prison, only exists because we build it every morning, and we don't have to. So I invite you to ask yourself, where are you keeping yourself locked up? Where are you bullying yourself? How is your inner critic? Where can you raise your inner critic up to your inner coach? Your freedom is just one shift in perspective away. Just one little shift can just completely free you from that cage. I can tell you that you absolutely can change. It is so worth the effort. So I'll leave a link to Amy's video in the description. I highly recommend you check it out. And I also want to let you know that I feel very privileged to be a part of a platform called Conscious Evolution. It's basically a hub where lots of different spiritual teachers and healers and doctors and psychologists and psychotherapists all on this one platform. There's a plethora of different people and vibes and flavors for you to check out, all in the one spot, Conscious Evolution. So I'll leave that link in the description. I'm so proud to be a part of that, so do check that out, and I will see you in the next video. I thought the sheep would come into shot.